I guess.
So I had a similar thought process originally,
Yeah.
and I've been evolving over time, and then we did the wave pool in New Jersey,
Yeah.
and oh my God, it was so much fun. We were giggling, laughing the whole time, like little kids, and like they played whatever music we wanted. So we were surfing, Pavarotti and opera at one point. We were like, it was crazy. It was surreal. And you had a board caddy. You want to swap out a board, you just go swap it out. And like, the wave wasn't phenomenal, but it's fun. It would be a fun summer day kind of wave. But the potential I saw from that was just like, this is never going to replace surfing. This is an additive to surfing, much like some people ride stand-up paddle boards or skiing. You have wide skis and you go on different trails, and it's a different type of experience. It's not the same thing, but it's a nice way to stay connected. If you're a landlocked surfer, someone who lives somewhere inland and you just had to move for whatever circumstance, like how rad would it be if like a Surf Lakes plunger opened up nearby or something? Like I guess that. Like, and then the other thing is the mentality in the water is less competitive. So everyone is like friendly because you're going to get your waves. You're going to get more than you can handle. Like I did 30 waves in an hour and a half. I was satisfied.
It's a lot of waves. Yeah.
So
I could totally appreciate that because especially we talked about like business being up and more people having time to surf. That's also lent itself to like the most crowded lineups I've ever seen in my life.
Crazy. I've never seen it this crowded. Like in Rockaway, it's unreal.
Yeah, it's insane. So like the competitiveness does get to be something, and
and you were a former competitive surfer, so the animal starts to creep out. But then you realize you're a business owner, and you're like, shit, I have to be nice to everyone.
Take the words right out of my mouth. Sometimes I like surfing in a hood because I can have a bit of like ambiguity. You know what I mean? Like, maybe no one knows who I am right now. You know what I mean? It's hard when it gets crowded, But then, I surfed for probably an hour and 20 minutes by myself this morning, like not a single person. And I was like, I can still find that. It's especially in New Jersey, like it can still exist. And those are the days those are the days I love. So, but maybe the wave pool will help the crowds too. You know what I mean? So like you might get that guy who's like, like a golfer kind of guy. You know what I mean? He's just like, he doesn't care about like, he doesn't have, he's got 3 kids at home. He's got a stressful job, a wife that is great. Yeah. And rather than actually like following the waves, he can go, you know what? I'm going to book 2 hours at the wave pool this Saturday because that's the time I have to surf. And then I'm not going to surf the rest of the week. So maybe, I don't know. I've heard that kind of other side of the theory that maybe it'll like make the actual lineups less crowded for the people who just don't have the time or the effort, don't want to put the effort into it.
And then people who could learn in a controlled environment. So they learn the proper skill sets before they get into the ocean. And maybe it's also an opportunity to teach people proper etiquette in a controlled environment like that. And you can...
Amazing,
right? Like that's what we need. That's what we need is a way to get people to be aware of etiquette. That, and we need way more etiquette billboards set up on all the beaches. I think
it's pretty insane, especially like up in your neck of the woods. I feel like every time I come up there, like
it's gnarly.
I surfed Long Beach one day this fall in one of those pretty good sized swells, and there was like it was 6 feet. It was proper. And there was like maybe 8 guys out on softboards that just had no business even being in the water and like had no idea of what etiquette meant and where they should be. It was insane. I feel for you guys up there because I know how crazy it gets.
Do we create surf licenses and you have to apply?
It's like throw back to the 60s where you have to like pass a swim test to be able to surf in like certain beaches,
Yeah, I was interviewing Eddie McCabe. Like he was like a hot surfer in the '60s in New York, and one of like first guys surfing like kind of Long Beach and Atlantic Beach actually. And he told me like what happened is the city hired him to police the lineup basically,
So
and
good.
his job was able to help manage the lineup. And if someone was out there either like acting out or didn't know what they were doing and they were in danger and endangering everyone, like he would tell them to go in. I feel like I would love to see like Surf Jedi in the lineup, like people who are just like really
so
good
good
surfers, and then they just like real benevolent, really nice, and just like keeping the vibe positive. And then if someone like is in danger, they're there. Because I mean, how many times surfers are rescuing people anyway and off duty?
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure.
it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Definitely.
why not have like pay some surfers to be there?
I like that. Yeah. I have a good buddy who's like, he's a good surfer. He's very like kind of calm and quiet, but he's the guy that can paddle up to anyone and be like, hey, like, just so you know, you shouldn't do that. Like, I can't do that. I don't know why. Maybe it's my face, you know what I mean? But like, it's hard for me to be like, I can be nice, but it just doesn't come off as nice. You know, it maybe doesn't come off as like gentle as he puts it, but he always, it's really well. Like a lot of people just don't understand it. If you can like in a non-threatening way, explain to them that what they're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
A lot of time they're thankful. They're like, oh, no one ever told me that. No one told me I shouldn't be here. No one told me I shouldn't paddle when someone else is already going or paddle behind. You know, it's pretty wild. It's weird.
I also think there's a bit of dereliction with like maybe our generation potentially, not all of us, but not taking a lot of newer surfers under our wings and helping to educate and, you know, kind of indoctrinate them into surfing.
Yeah. Well, you know, I see both sides of that because my education and indoctrinating was like a bunch of old guys screaming at me and burning me and telling me to beat it. You know what I mean? So I think half the reason I don't do that is because I hated the way they did that to me. But I do think that like, I look back at that and I was like, boy, I did learn a bit from those guys. You know what I mean? Like maybe there needs to be a couple guys to step up and, you know.
But I mean, like, I remember like a lot of older guys took me under their wing, like, and I would see them do that with lots of other grommets, you know, they would like talk to him in the lineup, be friendly, you know, kind of even like, you know, just like watch over them in case they, you know, got in trouble. Like, I feel like we have to kind of do that in some ways. And that's a good way to get them to understand like, hey, there's a culture here. There's something that was here before you and you need to respect it.
Yeah, I could see that for sure. You know, I watched the Dirty Old Wedge documentary.
Oh yeah.
Yesterday.
It's a good one.
It literally like, I wanted to watch it and it was actually on this funny TV channel that I have. And, that was it. Like, you know what I mean? They were kind of hard about it, but like,
yeah,
it was
stern but
like,
fair.
Yeah, exactly. Like you had to get to a place that you had to prove yourself that, all right, cool. All right, you're up on this one. You know what I mean? Yeah. Maybe we should bring that back a little bit.
Yeah.
Tough love.
Yeah.
But like nice tough love.
You know, you don't have to be mean, but you could be, you know, I mean, I think depends on the situation. You know what I also find I've been thinking a lot of is we need to communicate in the lineup. Like just when you start a conversation, right, with someone and all of a sudden there's like a group of people almost in on the conversation. Don't you find the lineup works a little bit better? People start to communicate and call each other in and out of waves a bit more and they become friendlier.
Yeah. Cause there's like, it brings humanity back to it. You know what I mean? It takes rather than just being this competitive edge that's like, everyone out for themselves. When you actually chat a bit, everyone's like, oh, like, you are a person. You're not just like someone trying to take my wave. I've been surfing a wave lately that's been like, there's like a crew of guys and I know all of them, but they're all pretty good surfers and they're all pretty cool. And I'm pretty nomadic. Like I don't always have the same wave that I surf all the time, but I've been surfing this wave a lot lately and everyone's been really cool. And it is that kind of that feeling in the water. Everyone like chats with each other. Everyone's cool with each other. Everyone's like happy when someone gets a good wave. And then when you know, they get one, you move over. It's like, it's a pecking order that should be, and everyone's on that same level. It's pretty cool.
Need to just get some really outgoing people in the lineup and start chatting everyone up and be like, "Hey, Bill, how's it going?" You know.
I struggle with that sometimes though, because if I chat too much, then I'm not getting enough waves. You know what I mean? Like there is a concentration. There's this fine line between concentration and like chatting.
I mean, how many times have you been in a conversation and all of a sudden a set comes, and you're like, shit.
Yeah, you and the guy you're talking to are too far inside and taking it on the head.
The coordinated, like, someone has to be like the lookout who sits further out and will just call it when the set comes, so the chit chat can stop when the set comes.
Can be like the regulator too. You know,
yeah,
both jobs.
That's it. We're solving problems here.
Trying.
So, Phil, what have you been riding lately? What's your go-to board?
Well, let me think. This morning, I actually rode a board that I've never ridden before, that I bought like a year ago. That was just like, I bought it from a friend, and it's a Neil purchase 2+1.
Ooh, 2+1.
Yeah, and he sold it pretty cheap, but I just wanted it for the fins because it was Neil's like 2+1 setup, and I was like, I don't even care. Like, you didn't want much for it. The fins were worth what I paid for it. So that thing was really nuts. It went really good. I'm actually super pumped on it. And then yesterday when it was pretty big, I rode a 6 foot, 6.0 Lovelace Super Snake, which is his asymmetric stuff, which is pretty much my go-to for good waves. So you figure, like, they have this kind of round nose thing on it. So 6.0 is probably about a 6.4 rail line kind of thing.
Right. Drawn out a bit more.
But pretty wild one. It's like, it's 18 inches wide, but I like 2 3/8 maybe. Like, so kind of
got some volume, a little bit of volume.
Yeah, it has some volume because it's kind of thick, but it's super narrow.
That's like 90s rocker shit almost.
It's weird. It's funny
but with
stuff,
a different rail line.
So I've been riding those Super Snakes for like the last like 5 years maybe, and I've just been really just tripping out on them because like I have a shortboard background, right? That's kind of what I grew up riding. I grew up through the worst surfboards in history. You know, those 90s kind of rockered out things.
90s were a fun time for riding. You know, those boards I think need to come back on, especially on good waves. I love what like Creed and Tagger on that 6.4, like Dahlberg. Oh my God. Yeah. Just in a good meaty wave, I think a longer rail line works better than a smaller one.
Absolutely. So I've been riding these like kind of wider versions of those boards, and I was in Madeira like 2 years ago, and Bryce Young was there, and he was riding a Birch that was really, really, really narrow. And of course I don't surf like Bryce Young does, but I was watching the way it would turn over because it was so narrow. And I was just like, whoa. All right. So I called Ryan Lovelace up as soon as I got back, and I was like, we need to go like take like 1.25 inches off the width of those things and see where it goes. And now it's just been like dwindled down to like more and more. And they're really cool. They need a wave. Like I don't ride them a ton when I'm home, but on the best days, they go really, really crazy.
That's epic.
And then I have a big glider that I ride a lot and a mid-length that I ride a lot. There's probably like 4 or 5 boards in my quiver that I ride like on a really normal, regular basis. Try to mix it up.
So if you had to choose one surfboard to ride forever, what would that board be?
Can I choose the wave too? Or can I?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like if you live here, you're running a shop, and like you can only ride one board for the rest of your life. What is this board?
That's a good one. Maybe a fish. I have this 5.2 Lovelace fish that I really love to death. I've probably ridden more than anything. But I guess if it was my only board, maybe I'd want a 5.5 version of that or something like that. I think I could actually like survive in most conditions in just that board.
See, I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil, for being on Swell Season. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's been fun.
Awesome. And that was Phil Browne of Glide Surf Shop and the Heavens Glassing Facility. Super stoked to have him on. And we hope you enjoyed the episode. We hope to see you again. Don't forget to like us on Instagram, follow us, Leave a nice rating for us on iTunes if you can. And we'll see you on down the line. Swell Season Surf Radio is produced by wax.radio. And if you need to, go to wax.radio to find all our archives and other awesome shows and podcasts. So please check it out. And thanks for joining us, and take care and have a great start.